So I think we learned a universal truth about the NFL watching this Super Bowl, and it's that you need a super quarterback to be in there and to have a chance to win it. Both teams seem to have super quarterbacks. One team had a super duper quarterback, and the Niners may or may not have one. Really quick, after the game, Andy Reid was being interviewed by that panel of ESPN guys, and Steve Young was there. And I think Steve asked him, well, what did you learn? And what does it take? And Andy Reid essentially said, we have good coaches on the staff, and we do matter, but you need one of you, Steve. You need one of you. And I'm not too, proud to understand that it's about that we're incredibly fortunate to have Patrick Mahomes. And have you ever heard Kyle Shanahan talk that way? Do you think he even feels that way?
No.
I think his life mission is to prove that that's wrong, and that Kyle is all that you need.
What Andy, again, I don't know Andy Reid. Kyle is a bit of a sour pickle, as I've said. He's a bit of a sour pickle. He never seems enthusiastic. It's like his personality was stolen at birth, and they're still searching for who took it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when Andy says we need one of you to Steve, what an honor, what a nice thing to say. And Steve deserves it. What a player, what a leader. So here's what I want to say about the Niners. I thought the Brock Purdy story was great. It was a fairy tale. I would love to have covered it, and I would love to have met him and see what he's like. But I do not believe he will ever enter that echelon of quarterbacks like Mahomes. Jalen Hurts, he's pretty good, Iggy. He had a good passer rating. He ran for 3 touchdowns.
Really good.
He's really good. And what I think is, I'm going to try to do this as well as I can. Purdy is a kind of a quarterback, if you give him the greatest weapons in the world, he could take advantage of them and do beautifully with them. But he's not the kind of quarterback who could take the team on his back like Mahomes or Steve Young, because sometimes you do, who could take the team on his back and win the freaking game. Joe could do that.
Because you're the only position on the team that can do that. Quarterback.
I don't think he can. What do you think, Aiden?
No, I don't think he can. So it was a great story. If he hadn't come along, this season would have been over in October, and it would have been boring. But what the Niners don't need to do is act like this is the franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, because that's the same mistake they made with Jimmy Garoppolo. They fell in love with a little run and extrapolated it to that he's great. I don't know about that. I mean, he didn't prove it in the NFC Championship game, frankly. So we'll have to see. I think the Niners owe it to themselves to still see what they have in Trey Lance before they move on and look for the next Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with you. And, I saw an interview with Jeff Garcia a few days ago. Jeff is very forthright. And they asked him who should be the starting quarterback. And he said something very interesting. He said, Brock Purdy needs to be the best quarterback because he understands the system better than Trey Lance. Now, that's a double-edged sword, meaning if you're the kind of coach who wants a system quarterback, you go with this guy. But it also means if you were a more enlightened coach, I believe it means, and more open-minded, you might look at the other guy.
Yeah. It's interesting. You talk about a super quarterback. A super quarterback is someone who is athletically gifted, the prototype, big, mobile, strong arm, can make every throw, a really good at Steve Young, Patrick Mahomes. When Kyle Shanahan in the past has been asked about what does he look, what's the most important trait a quarterback has to have, he always says a couple things: toughness and processing ability, like the ability to quickly decipher a defense. He doesn't think he needs an athlete at the quarterback position. He thinks all he needs is a computer. Someone who can read the defense, stand there, throw the ball to the right place, and take the hit. That's all you got to do. He really hasn't had very much respect for the position. He spends, again, on wide receivers, on the skill position guy. He was a wide receiver. Debo's making money. Christian's making money. Kittle's making money. Ayuk. But the quarterback is just, he's a 6-foot guy. It could be Kyle. It could be Kyle. Kyle is the star.
And when he says when we say he needs a computer, it's because he's a computer.
He's a computer.
He's a computer.
He's
a computer. Hal in Space Odyssey had as much personality as Kyle. We ought to call him Hal.
There's a movie you never saw, but everyone here in the chat, my age, has seen it. It's called Grandma's Boy. It was produced by Adam Sandler, but he's not in it. It's about a 35-year-old who lives with his grandparents and is a video game designer. And so he's a little bit of a loser. At this place is a boy genius who is like the star at the company. And he's so out there that he sometimes talks like a robot and thinks that he's half robot. And I've always felt that Kyle Shanahan is a lot like that guy, JP from the Grandmas. But he's a genius, and everyone calls him a genius, and he's so detached from normal people that he actually has the personality of a robot. That's how I feel. JP from Grandma's Boy. Sorry.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Thank you.
People have been calling Kyle Shanahan a genius since he was like 28 years old. I don't think that's healthy, man. He never won a Super Bowl. He's not a champion. How is he really a genius, or is he just a guy who grew up around football and has a very good understanding of X's and O's? And outside ego.
He's a guy who people in the media nationally who don't really know him or know football call a genius. Just like people call Don Nelson a genius. When did he ever win? I mean, Don Nelson was a very interesting man to cover in good ways and bad ways. He was clever. He never got a center. He never played defense, right? But he was a genius. So this kid's a genius kid. I don't know if he's a kid. How old is he?
He's like 43, 44.
That's not a kid anymore.
It's not a kid anymore.
No.
He's been in the league like 15 years. But he's just had some unfortunate circumstances, Dad.
Yeah, he's dogged by injuries. They're dogging him.
He's snake bit. 2.0 says...
Hold on. We're talking about geniuses.
Geniuses.
In football. Hold on. Bill Walsh was a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Gibbs was a genius.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andy Reid's a genius.
I would say so. He's looking like it. Yeah, I think
I
so.
would say so. Kyle is not in that class.
No. If he were, he would win a Super Bowl with this roster. He's had an elite roster for like four. Everyone says it was a bad team when he got here. And then he built it up with John Lynch. And then since they drafted Nick Bosa, they've had an elite team, and he's won 0 Super Bowls. So if he were a genius and a great coach, he would have sealed the deal already. Maybe he'll become a genius and a great coach in the future.
Okay. All right.